Yeah. Is that it for infrastructure for now?
Yep, that's all. So I've sent the screenshot. Let me see if it's visible.
It's in the chat for the meeting or in all?
All electrical.
I see. Okay. Oh, that's really cool.
Feel free to comment on that, as in if you guys want some change. This is still in progress. There are a few things that needs to be changed. On the right bottom, you still have to add some control panel system and a 2D view. So that's still in progress, but that's overall the look.
All right. Yeah, I hate having to switch into notes. It takes OneNote. It takes a long time.
I don't think it's the OneNote issue. It's the team issue.
Is it? Because I've like tried to load this even on just like OneNote, like the app, the OneNote app, and it's also slow. It's also really slow.
I guess you cannot always blame Microsoft.
This is true. All right.
Okay, while that's loading, let's move on to the rest of the sub-teams. So let's go with communications. Okay, so with communications, so I have all of the equipment here with me now. The Arduinos, I just mounted the shields on them. We're just going to make sure that we have Arduinos that are communicating with each other. So last week we started with 1 and 2. Now we have, from electronics, we're just going to be using 3 Arduino Duos on the entire system. So I have 3 Arduino Duos. We're just exchanging data among the 3 of them, just sending IP addresses, making sure that they can communicate via the Ethernet switch. So we have that going. Creating the network is still in progress. Once we get that up and running, then we'll be able to fully integrate ZCM. For now, we can build ZCM, but we haven't integrated as yet. As long as we can verify that our network is stable, we'll be able to do that.
You can build ZCM, but you cannot, sorry?
No, we can build ZCM, but we haven't integrated it into the network as yet. We're still working on the network.
Right.
And for control, work on the Odroid began last night, really. So I set it up. In order to make the workflow a little bit easier, I just made it into a server. So my team members, whoever, can just access it remotely, and they can do all of their development on there. Yeah, so they can just do development on their Odroid remotely whenever they want. And so far, they're just building whatever libraries that they have to build right now on the Odroid. Currently, we're looking at creating a script to automate, running all of the C++ files or the, essentially all of the code, so that when the Odroid is on the pod, we just have to, log in to the Odroid and just run that script, and everything will just happen from there. They have also started working on the FDD document, so they have come up with all of their tests already. They're trying to come up with new tests if they have to, but I wouldn't say too much. I think about 3 or 4, maybe 5. I think that's sufficient. Once it's in depth enough to describe prove how safe the system is. In particular, making sure that whatever state the state machine is in is never in an unknown state. We can always track it. We're working on synchronizing the state machine with the inverter state machine. That's also underway. Yeah, I guess that's so far.
Wait, how many tests do you
have? For the control, I think they have about 4 tests. They're going to be testing the controller, the state estimator, the channels, the health monitor so far. I believe they're also working on the Simulink model as well. And yeah, that's all for now. For control, communications, they still have to work on the FTD document right now. Well, what we know for sure is that we have these Arduinos up and running, and we're sharing data, so that's good. Hopefully, we'll be able to get it done by next week, Saturday, hopefully by that time. Yeah, that's it.
All right, awesome. Let's go with electronics.
What have we done mainly? Oh, good news. So, Adam got the Canvas module working. Adam, can you talk right now, or is your mic still being weird? Okay, we can't hear you, so I'm assuming your mic's still off. But the Canvas module is working. So he's just gonna clean up everything, and then eventually, when we get the time to, we can probably start like just testing with the inverter and just seeing what we get back from the inverter. It doesn't have to be like actual motor control, but just just data in general, right?
Yeah, and I think the inverter. Okay, so we need to make sure that we have the inverter like power supply set up for it. So that is. Oh, all right. Please go backwards. That is. It only needs a 12-volt power supply.
Okay.
And we need to set up the breakout board for that, or at least I think June wanted to do it with just connectors. So once we have that set up, we can like power on the inverter just from a 12-volt power supply. So we don't need any high voltage stuff to test. Just talking to the inverter.
Okay.
And communicating with it.
Cool. Yeah. Once we can like work with the inverter, then we can figure out like the controls that we have to do on our end, and then we can like leave the rest of the software after that.
Yeah. Sorry, just to put in there. Do you have like an ETA when you think this would be done? Because then we can like fast track the actual like inverters. Like,
they should be done by the end of the week.
Okay.
So like if you're able to get the inverter working, perfect. If not, then like we can wait a little bit. We have to work on the documentation anyway, so we got time. In terms of the PCB team, Colin, do you want to talk about that since Horace isn't here?
Yeah, so we had an intermediate meeting this week, just basically talking about connectors, and we've sort of come to a agreement on what connectors we want to use for most of the sensors. They're just going to be like basic 4-pin keyed sensors that we can get cables for easily, just solder onto the 4 cables coming from most of the sensors. As far as like the designs of the PCBs themselves, they're pretty close to being done. We think we'll be finished by the end of the week. It's just like dealing with small details now, like making sure we all have the same connectors and the same pinouts for power connectors and stuff. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. We haven't run into many issues this week. So we've sort of just been like consolidating and making sure we're all working along the same lines to make sure we have consistent designs.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. Apart from that, the sensors are just work in progress essentially.
Sorry, what connectors are you guys planning on using inside the PCB for the sensors? Like I know the power cables may be like 4 pins, but some like weird connector. But what about the ones inside within there?
Yeah, so it depends on the sensor, but a lot of our sensors have the same like 4-pin M12 connectors. But because those specific connectors are sort of hard to find, we're going to use a more basic 4-pin connector we can just solder a cable onto. I can send you the information if you want. But
yeah, I just want to put like the name down here maybe. Because
yeah, I'll type into the chat.
As nice as it is to have like distinct connectors for stuff, like for repairability, it may be nice to have like the fewer different types of connectors we need if we have to repair something on the day of or whatever. It makes it easier because then we don't have to like go looking for this specific type of connector.
Yeah, this connector is pretty common and cheap. Like you buy them in like bags of 10
Is it a
pieces.
DuPont? Is it one of the black DuPont connectors or a JST?
No, it's a Grove. Here.
You've probably seen it before. They're very
Yeah.
common. Like they're
Right.
like the really basic ones that like
You just look up this number.
they only go in one way. They have 4 pins. They're made out of
Yeah.
plastic. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, it looks like JST, but it's big.
yeah. They're pretty
Well,
simple.
not big. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Ermil. What were you saying before? I just wanted to like.
Yeah,
finish
no,
up
no
that
worries,
segment.
no worries, no worries. Yeah, I was just saying, the sensors team is just doing, like, is just work in progress right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We're putting a focus on test documentation. So whether or not they get the sensors completely working, we're gonna put an effort to just get test documentation up there, so that like we can just finalize the report, finish up everything and during reading week, and then when it comes to like actually testing the sensors and whatnot, they can get to that later if needed.
Okay. Awesome. Do you guys have like? I'm just kind of curious. Do you guys expect your members to be working during reading week, or like are people comfortable doing that? You don't have to put 100% time into it, but like just kind of like having to work on this during reading week. How are people feeling about that?
Well, guys, you wanna say how you're feeling about that? I don't wanna say like say something when like I don't stand for the group.
I mean, I literally have nothing else to do over reading week. I'm sort of stuck inside no matter what. So
Yeah, basically same here.
All right. I mean, yeah, it's nice. It's important that we like, because you guys are gonna be working on like doing this. I think it's important that we know how you feel about doing it, and I'm glad to hear that you're willing to do it.
yeah.
Another thing I mentioned in our internal meeting was that like feel free to go and read other sections that aren't even in our team. Like it might, like if you're learning electronics, okay, maybe read energy stuff, maybe read software, maybe you just read like brake stuff. And if you have any questions or something like that, go write them and put a comment there that okay, wait, this doesn't make sense. True, like right? So then, because right now, like people that don't know our system are going to read about it. So just we need that. And this is the same for everyone else in the other teams. So if you're in software, feel free to like read some electronic stuff, and if you have questions about how this works and the problems with it, please tell us about it.
Yeah, and that was like, it's important that you like read it with a critical eye and be
Yep.
nitpicky, because at the end of the day, that's what they're gonna do. That's how we're gonna get evaluated. So I'll just give you like an example. So propulsion of like one time where this helped us a lot was for the ITD. Propulsion was saying, "Oh, the motor is gonna be running at this power," and I'm like, we agreed not to use that. And then someone, I think braking was talking about the motor running at a whole different power too, and I'm like, that's not even in the range. And in energy systems, I was saying something else, right? I was like, we should stay consistent as to what power we can go to. Obviously, you can say, oh, the motor is rated to a max power of this, but it's important to say that we are all, for all our sections, to be consistent as to what power are we running the motor at, for example. So yeah. So like that was a big change that had to happen.
Yeah. But yeah,
Right.
that's the real update with the electronics. Energy systems can go.
Okie dokie. Let's see, June is not here today. No wonder it's so quiet. Let's see. So I actually just got the first battery out. I'll show you guys a picture. I sent it to Esther. So this little picture of the Arduino controller that we're using to monitor temperatures. This is just a prototype. And if I can find the picture. Oh, I showed this already, but I'll show it again. It's kind of basically, it's finished up enough to the point that we were able to deploy it, and I gave it to Esther, so she can start testing and stuff. Like all the protection circuits for it have been made, so she can test it safely, and she has the equipment that she can do that she needs to start testing it. And kind of like a framework has been built on. Most of it went smooth and according to the plan I already made to build these batteries. There's a few small details and slight changes that I'm gonna make in terms of just like I just found, oh, it's a lot easier to do this and it's a lot safer to do it this way. But yeah, that's something that is was a small modification to the design of the battery that's gonna happen. So I will write that down. I made the mistake of leaving the OneNote. Oh, battery deployed for testing. Another thing is the, what is it? Yeah, so we have one built, and then within the next week or so, I want to have 2 or 3 more made. That's very optimistic. HP. And actually, I have 10 of these modules, and I'm planning on making like more. We need at least 10. I'm planning on making more for redundancy, in case one is damaged or whatever. We can have some testing while we ship the pod over there. Module built. Deployed. Where this is like this goes, we wanted to develop the testing before, but it's kind of hard to do it if you don't have the stuff with you. So this should help her a lot with developing like the testing procedures and the kind of testing documentation we want to do. Testing like what is it? The testing, developing tests. /. Files under various modes / and then temp profiles. That would be really nice to see a plot of the temp profiles to see like how hard we can really actually run the batteries when it comes to game day. So yeah, we're gonna also HP battery FPD started, and I think the LV battery team working on CAD model, still rough model already deployed. I mean, it's already like work in progress. Inner details on specific wiring connections all being decided. But yes, this is energy systems progress so far, and I think there is been a lot of like physical work in terms of putting the battery together. Not much. Still need to get an update on the LV power distribution team tomorrow. But last I checked, they're sorry, the LV power working on 3D printed for the power converters. Yeah. Max, would you be willing to help out there's like a team on energy systems that needs help with like putting together a kind of like a rough model for the low voltage battery, but they're like really slow with it. They are working with Rashab right now, and he's kind of helping them do it. But I think there's like a disconnect in the communication there. I don't know if you're someone who, I don't know if you'd be comfortable working and like to just push them and be like, just offer ideas and be like, yo, just do this. It's just to kind of like just keep things moving.
Sure. If you like, if I can get a little bit more information as to exactly what the task is, then yeah, I can help out with that.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I'm trying to get them to get a rough model of a rough model, literally just a box for an estimated footprint for the battery, because it's at the end of the day, it's gonna be a box that we're gonna put everything in there. So if it's a little bigger, it's okay. But I just want them to estimate it based on all the part sizes that they have. It's just really slow for them to come up with an idea of how they want to arrange all the components inside. And then I thought maybe you'd be able to tell them like, okay, just do it like this for now. And a conservative estimate of the size and footprint of this thing is okay, because we want to get a space for it on the pod. At the end of the day, that's what it's for. So we can reserve a space on the pod for the battery.
Yeah, sure, I can help with that.
Yeah, I'll add you to the chat, and if you need me to catch you up on anything, let me know. Like, I'll kind of just give you. Basically, I just already gave you a summary of what I need them to do, and they've been stuck on it for like the past 4 or 5 months, weeks since we started this year.
5 months. That's terrifying.
I mean, 5 weeks. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wanted them to have a CAD model last year, but I was very optimistic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can try and help them push that along for sure.
Yeah, and if you want to, like, just feel free to egg them and be like, "Yo, do stuff," because I do it, and it only gets me so far. Maybe they're used to me already telling them to.
Sometimes you need a different coach to get you going, you know?
Exactly. Like, I've done it for a year already, and I feel like it's not that I don't want to keep doing it, but I don't think it's affected my methods or just me talking to them, because I'm friends with one of the dudes, so he really doesn't take anything seriously. Like, if I say it. I think they need a different voice.
Sure. I'll try and change the eggs I throw at them too. Maybe that's it.
Yes, absolutely. Like, if you want to push them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely do that, or be my guest.
Cool.
For everyone else listening, this is part of what leadership is about. You have to realize what you can't do and where you gotta tell other people to just help you out, because that's what it's about.
100%. And it doesn't mean just pawn off all your responsibilities to other people.
It doesn't mean that. No, it means like, I need help. Help me out. You know?
Because I really can't do this myself.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, you guys are free to go. It's a good meeting. I think we got some good important updates. Actually, I was just gonna add to the electrical one more thing. But yes, have a good weekend. If you want to stay on and ask questions, now's the time. If you have questions about FMEA, you have questions about FDD, you're not sure about how things are going to work out and go, and you're kind of like confused or stressed out about it, like, this is, you can talk about it here or later if you're more comfortable with that. But
I guess, well, I'll wait until in case there's other things that other people want to say, but I wouldn't mind asking a little bit more about the current status of the battery and like where we're at, what the blockers are. But I don't know if that's maybe better just to have a separate call between you and I later on.
Oh, we can talk about this now. I think
Yeah, like,
most people.
I think everyone's leaving now, and it's just the leads. So yeah, like I'm gonna head out now, so I'll let you
Great.
guys have your meeting. Bye, guys.
See you. Okay, honestly, biggest blockers. Oh, sorry, Dave. You want to say something?
No, I was gonna say like you want to stop recording or
This is a good idea.
yeah.
How do I? Oh, there we go.